Welcome, everybody, to episode 5 of CineMinistries, the show where us three friends who have known each other for over a decade now get to know each other a little better through the movies that we know and love. Starting out first, we're going to go through what we've been watching for the week. Brennan, would you like to start?
Yes. So this week, I literally forgot what I was watching. But that's okay because there was two things that I was doing. I didn't finish it, but I've about halfway through roughly the audiobook of I Am Legend,
Mm.
which is supposed to be actually very different from the movie as it always is. I'm going to spoil it because it was spoiled for me, and I don't really care. And it's a good story can't be spoiled. It's in the book. It's more about first off, the vampires talk in the book. Not like a lot, not like very eloquent. Doesn't seem like so far. More of just like they can say his name and like
they speak, but only in German.
Yeah,
you can never understand what the hell they're saying.
That's a weird thing when you get bitten by a vampire. So many German words suddenly flow through. No, but in the movie, he's the last man. It's all about how he's the last man on Earth, and he's he's kind of keeping himself safe from these vampires and whatnot because they want to kill him and all that good stuff. And then he's trying to like get a cure and all that other stuff. But it's a good movie. I mean, when it came out, when I was in 8th grade when it came out, and if I'm being honest, I don't know if you guys recall, I recall being a little disappointed with the movie, not because it was a bad movie, but just because I feel like the hype around it was a really big movie when it came out, and it was like, what is this? And it was just like, it's a much slower paced movie, I feel like, than you're expecting. But then again, like, I don't know why you expected more from Last Man on Earth. Wasn't the ensemble cast I thought it would be.
It is kind of like an interesting concept, and I totally get why they chose to do it. But at the time, who might have been the most charismatic person, maybe towards the end of his immaculate run, but Will Smith, charming, funny, he had it all, and then they're like, let's put him alone the entire movie, no one to bounce off of, just him, and it's like. It was good, but I think also you wanted more of fun Will Smith.
Yeah.
And that was in his little bit of like, I'm going to take a few serious movies in a row, which were all like good. I Am Legend was good, but yeah, it was just sort of like, okay.
Yeah. And the book is, it's a little different. And I'm not finished with the book, but what got me to read the book was watching someone, like a video of someone discuss the book. So I know the ending, which is, that it's more in the light that he realizes that he's the monster, because he realizes that actually there's a world full of vampires and he's the lone human hunting and killing these vampires.
At a certain point when the numbers flip, you're the bad guy.
And I'm about halfway through it. I slowed down because I was listening to it while I was working, and I'll be honest, I'm a bit hesitant just to finish it because I don't know. It felt like it was getting there might have been little racial undertones in it. At first it started talking about comparing them to minorities at first, like kind of like what the idea of being a minority is, which I was like, okay, yeah. But then he says the black bastards got him, and I'm like, are they black? I'm like, I don't. What? I'm like, I don't. I didn't realize that they were in the movie. They're pale as can be. Vampire, you know what I mean? Like, there's no clear sign of their skin color. So it was like, wait, what? Where did that come from? And he's also, at least like I said, first half, he's very. Most of his problems could be solved by jerking off. He's incredibly frustrated and tempted by the female vampires. They're like, they want, so he's in, it's like the movie where he barricades himself, and it's like kind of a very similar, like almost same setup. He's barricading himself inside at night, blah, blah, blah. But the vampires talk to him and they're like, come on outside, like, come on out. And the female vampires apparently are all like acting all sexy and like doing poses and like, just trying to get him to tempt him to come out. And like, I mean, he brings up many times where he's like, "Oh my god, I just can't get these. I just can't stop thinking about vampire pussy." You know, like it's like he just it's often
Hey,
where it's
we've
like
all been there, brother.
it's like
Nothing to
man,
be ashamed of.
just jerk off. Just like he's got to like he's like I've got to soundproof my house. I just can't deal with this anymore. But it's I don't know. I'm enjoying it. I'll probably finish it because it's a short read or listen. I think, like I said, I've only got a couple hours left in it, so I'll probably finish it on my next shift unless I feel like I'm in the mood for music. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching, checking out.
Chad, what have you been watching?
So this past week, I started and caught up with a Netflix series called Nobody Wants This. It has Kristen Bell and I believe his name is Adam Brody. It's a rom-com series that's about I don't know how old she is, but a woman looking for love, and she just happens to stumble across this guy, and the will they won't they it doesn't last very long, but it's mostly about their relationship advancing like through the stages of a relationship, and it's pretty good. It's kind of weird because one of the main hangups is that he is a rabbi and she is not Jewish at all. So it's
He didn't learn anything from Licorice Pizza.
In my head, I thought you were going to say something real crazy, like the only catch is he's a dog. She's
no, but
he's a dog and she works at the pound.
two quirky lovers.
How can they coexist?
You know?
Yeah, that's about all I got. I got
Where would you rank it amongst rom coms? It seems like you've got a theme of rom coms. I don't know if you call it, well, I don't know if it's not the full rom com, but it's like it's romantic, lighthearted.
Yeah, it's hard to it's hard to place a ranking of like comparing movies and TV shows and all that kind of stuff, but I'd say on a 5-star scale, it's like a 4. It's definitely worth a watch, but it's not gonna knock your socks off.
It's a really good cast, so that's like a good sign there.
Yeah, the brother of the guy, Sasha is the character's name. I forget the actor's name, but he is hilarious. Every scene he's in is just stellar. What about you, Josh?
You said 4 stars?
Yeah.
Okay. And Brennan, you haven't finished it yet. Where's the book sitting at for you right now, score-wise? Because we do want to start giving more rankings and scores as we go.
I put it around a 3 right now. It's good. It's a 3.5. It's good. It's good. I'm listening to it. I think it's a good read. It's an easy read. It's kind of like I'd say 3.5 so far.
All right. So over the weekend on Valentine's Day, my wife and I went and watched the Wuthering Heights movie. Chad, we read the book in school.
You read it. I didn't.
Oh, like you were supposed to read it though.
Yeah.
I'll say you didn't miss anything. I hated that book. I hated that book so much. And the movie doesn't follow the book much at all. So it was a nice change of pace. It was really good. This is hypocritical of me, but I like when movies do one of two things. If you're going to set it in a specific era, you either use only music of that era. I don't want to flip. Like we talked, Chad, we saw Marty Supreme together a while back. all the music is of that era, and at the very end they play Tears for Fears, and I was like, why? Why would you not just play another era specific piece? But on the flip side, I also like when they play no era specific music and they just like do a full modern soundtrack. And this is what they did. Charlie XCX did basically the whole soundtrack. I love Charlie XCX. It's so good. And yeah, like it's just you got a bunch of great actors. You got Jacob Elordi, Margot Robbie. They're 95% of this movie. But basically everyone in this movie was really good. I can never remember his name. The kid who plays Aegon in House of the Dragon is in this in a small part. He was awesome. And I was talking to another buddy about it who saw it. I kind of love a movie, to call back to our licorice pizza thing. I love a movie where you watch two characters and you're like, wow, this whole movie's about you, and I fucking hate both of you. I think you both suck so bad. You are both terrible. You are monsters. I wish you no success. And then you watch them get no success. It's awesome. It's so fun to watch a movie where bad things happen to bad people. And
there is something where it's like the outcome isn't traditionally or what you'd expect for the characters positive, but there's a part of you that's like, this might be the best outcome though. This might be
some spoilers for both the book and the movie. In the book, Catherine and Heathcliff, which I could never get over how funny the name Heathcliff is. I kept thinking of that fucking cat. Every time they said his name, I thought of the cat. But they're like childhood friends who are in love with each other forever. She ends up marrying another rich person who moves in because customs, and he runs away, becomes rich. They never explain how in the book or the movie. He leaves for 3 years and comes back fucking ballin'. He's got a nice suit. He's got a silver tooth. He's
if the author knew, he wouldn't be writing the book.
How dare you?
Yeah.
Second up,
I didn't know they could do that.
No. But yeah, then he comes back and they both just like have an affair, and her husband, who is by all accounts in this movie, I don't fully remember him in the book, the nicest man. He's so kind and so good to her. And this poor bastard is just like, his wife is just every day. And she's like scheduling. So tomorrow, say we're going to meet over here and then we're going to have sex again. And it's like
it's like a Hallmark trope where it's like, because he had to take a meeting just during work.
Yeah.
You know,
he's at a meeting at 2 p.m. on a Tuesday. How dare he?
Why is he in this pumpkin patch? Does he hate Halloween?
But in the book, Catherine has a baby, and then it sort of follows. I don't fully remember the book super well, but I remember they have the baby, and there's almost like a Romeo and Juliet thing with Catherine and Heathcliff, where she dies, and then he ends up dying, and it's like put in this way of like, wow, he finally gets to be with her at peace, and then their kids, I think, get together. I don't fully remember. In the movie, her baby dies because her husband is like, you can't be cheating on me anymore, and she locks herself in her room and doesn't eat or leave the room for like a month. Goes septic and dies, and so does the baby, and then the movie ends right there. And Heathcliff is like in shambles because of he just lost the love of his life, and it's like it just ends, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby. It was yeah, I will say there was something I like. They were obviously Margot Robbie, Jacob Elordi, incredible. They were great. There was just something that I couldn't fully buy with the two of them in this relationship. I don't know what it was. They just like, I don't know. I just couldn't fully do it.
What it might have been, I haven't watched it, but I saw someone talking about it, and this makes me think of what they said is how every bit of the movie, every frame, and even every actor, every shot had to be the most beautiful, perfect shot that you had to like that they could come up with. And I saw some of them; they looked really good, like the red sky or whatever. Like that looks amazing. But yeah, I could imagine
Fennel is outstanding. I
can imagine though that it takes away maybe some of the connection. You know, maybe it's a little more surface level than I don't know. That's just my me just pulling things out of my ass.
The one, like the only other negative I'll give it, because really it was very good. There was a section probably right around that, like where the first third turns into the second third of the movie, where it felt like this is just a series of beautifully shot Charlie XCX music videos. We are going from song to song with them brooding and posing and running through the fields and everything.
Charlie's the real winner then.
Yeah. No, thriving over there.
Got herself like a whole album of music videos for like probably the best cinematography you're going to get.
Yeah.
Ever anywhere.
Between that and like her movie, The Moment coming out, good year. And people are taking her side in the Taylor Swift beef. So it's like, man, you are
we're talking about
Margot Robbie? Killing it. No, Charlie XCX.
Oh, I thought we were talking about Ryder. I was like, she's beef. I was like, damn. Everyone's beef.
Yeah, I gave this. I'm hovering between like a 3.5 and a 4. Again, like not through the movie's fault at all. I just really hate this story. The book was one of my least favorite books I ever read. I thought it was super difficult to read, and I think this movie did as good as you can do with that story. So I'll go 4. 4 feels good, but yeah. Well, then before we head on to the main one, do we want to do our scores for the other main ones we've done?
Yep. Let me see what's I'm gonna pull it up now because I forgot what I sent into the group chat. Ooh.
I'm realizing I feel like for the most part there will be at least one 4.5, 5 star for every movie because we're picking it because we love it. So it's like, yeah, they're gonna be.
I don't know actually, because here's my thing. This is my rankings. Goodfellas, I gave a 4. The Fantastic Mr. Fox, I gave a 4. Walk Hard, I gave a 3.5, and Licorice Pizza, I gave a 3. Now,
interesting.
Part of the reason is I don't want to give a 5 because I don't know what a 5 is exactly, and I want to have room to go up.
Okay.
I'm giving away 5s like fucking candy on Halloween.
I'll just say,
you knock on the door, you're getting a 5, baby. Yeah. Let's go.
Get in here. It's Blu-ray. We got Blu-ray.
I'm Oprah. Everybody look under your seats. You got a 5. That's what...
the reasons I didn't want to give, I guess, these movies a 5. Goodfellas, great. It's fantastic. I want to mark it down a little bit for the third act, even though I believe the third act needs to be there. I'm not saying it doesn't need to be there for the theme of him, the downfall. To me, it just feels so out of place, so I can't stop thinking about it. The pacing everything changes, and that just bugs me a little bit. That's me. That's personal preference. But also, I don't think it's even my favorite Scorsese film. So I was like, I kind of think I'd give The Departed a higher grade if I had to put them head to head, or even Casino maybe. I think at the end of the day, and I love Goodfellas. I think I've seen Goodfellas more, but I think Casino, when I really think about it, has a lot. There's the icon. I think Goodfellas has more iconic moments, but I think I think Casino might have just more moments that I kind of look back on and I go, shit, that's much better. I gotta watch that movie again. Like that's and also I can't stop thinking about that Joe Pesci's death at the end of that Casino. It's amazing, but Fantastic Mr. Fox it's a great one for me. It's only been a movie that I've only watched it twice, and it's never been a movie. It wasn't a movie that I liked it, but it wasn't like
yeah,
this is the movie for me. Walk Hard, it was another one where I was like, as much as I enjoy the movie, it's a great fun movie that I enjoy, that I get a good laugh out every time I watch it, and I like to quote it. But even if I were to rank it among parody movies, in terms of real, get down to the real rankings of how I want to feel about a parody movie, I can't even rank it. I feel like that high in parody movies in terms, because you got movies like Young Frankenstein that do such a better job of keeping it a grounded film or keeping it not like we're going to be funny, but it's not going to be like this, just over the top ridiculous where you're cut in half and you're still talking to me, like I know they bring some back to life, but you know what I mean. And then also I think about like movies like the arguably the best one of the best parodies, and I'd still say I think might have to say one of, if not the best, at least for comedies for sure, but I'd rank it up there among one of the best trilogies of all time, Austin Powers. So so that's why I gave that a 3.5. And then Licorice Pizza, I would have given it a 4 had it been either the age appropriate relationship, a slightly different ending maybe, or really I probably would have given it a 4 had I watched it at a younger age. If I watched it at a younger age, I could put myself more in the shoes of the 15-year-old. I probably would have enjoyed it and looked at it in a much different way than I did watching it in my 30s. But yeah, those are my rankings.
All right.
And also, I love, it's not even my favorite Paul Thomas Anderson film, which is There Will Be Blood, of what I've seen.
Chad, your thought. I mean, your overall ratings.
Yeah, so like Josh, I am much more willing to give out a 5. This is mainly because movies are hard to make. To steal a line from one of our favorite podcasts. But so for Goodfellas, I gave it a 5 because it's timeless. It's an awesome story, and it's kind of an evergreen topic. Fantastic Mr. Fox, I also gave a 5 because the animation is, or I guess stop motion, is out of this world. And the charisma is just oozing out of that film. Walk Hard, I gave a 3. Like I said in our episode, I felt like it was an inch deep movie. Like there wasn't much to it besides making fun of these musical biopics. Like I felt like they could have poked more at Hollywood, but they didn't. Licorice Pizza, I gave a 5 because I love a slice of life story. It doesn't there doesn't need to be a huge arc or a grand battle or a good guy prevailing. It just what happened in this time period for these people, and I love those. So, what about you, Josh?
Yeah, my reviews are pretty similar to Chad's. Goodfellas, I think, is one of the best movies ever made. 5 stars easily. Fantastic Mr. Fox might be the most I've ever watched a movie. It's up there. At minimum, it's top 10 for the movies I've seen the most times.
I think
5
Bronson,
stars.
I think thanks to Bronson, I still have Garfield in my top 3.
Okay, then maybe we won't use that as a metric. But yeah, that's 5 stars easily for me. Walk Hard, I gave 4 stars. Yeah, it's just funny. It's just good, funny comedy movie. I do agree with Chad that it didn't have the depth that I hope for in movies, even. And I hate when people say like, "Oh, it's a comedy," or like, "Oh, what kills," especially when people go, "Yeah, it doesn't make sense. It's a kids movie." It's like, right, but kids movies can be good, and comedies can have good stories, and they don't get a pass to not do that. You can still enjoy it. There's nothing wrong with it, but that's not like a reason to be like, "Oh, it doesn't need to have a good plot." That's just. I don't think this movie was lazy by any means, but that often is used by people just being lazy talking about another movie. But yeah, I still liked it a lot. So 4 stars on that one. And then, like Chad, I really love Just a Slice of Life, as we will talk about here momentarily. So 5 stars for Licorice Pizza too.
And now for the film of the week, which was, Josh, you want to start with this one?
Yeah. So my prompt was the movie that has made me cry the most of any movie, and that was The Florida Project. And as a fun little, let's just see what's going on. After we recorded, I went. It was like the next day I was home on lunch, and I'm like, I hyped up how it makes me cry. Let me watch the final scene and see if it still does. I watched just the last 2 minutes and was weeping in my kitchen yet again. This movie, I think, is just beautiful and heartbreaking. And just like really, there are a couple moments where genuinely the first time I watched it, and let me be clear, I watched it. That was my Obama impression. Let me be clear. I watched it pretty early in the pandemic. So we were home, stuck home, isolated from just about everyone except family. And so things were not the best going on. And I was like, I'll just watch some really good movies to feel better. And this was one of the first ones I picked.
So you get emotional right now. Let's put some on to calm the ship, right? The ship.
Yeah. But yeah, I just think that the story is so simple and heartbreaking of this kid who just doesn't realize how bad things are. And throughout everything, you see Mooney is just having such a good time, and she thinks life is great. They're going and they're getting ice cream, and they're playing with their friend, and they're getting free waffles from the breakfast place, and all the while she's just blind to the stuff going on. And it's not like other movies that would be a little, I think, cheaper and have the mom be like she's a bad mom, but she clearly loves her daughter and has fun with her daughter and adds to that feeling of the daughter just thinking this is normal, this is how things go. And my God, that ending. We could talk about the ending in a little bit, but yeah, this movie just really hit, and in a weird way, because like I've had a very privileged childhood. I don't know anything. I've never experienced anything like that in this movie, but it was still just it hit me so hard and just connected so hard. I again, to give two contradictions of things I love. I love when you watch a movie and an actor has a performance and you watch and just go, wow, they fucking crushed that. Like they did so good. And on the flip side of that, I love a movie where it doesn't feel like people are acting at all. And
Yeah.
this movie, really, the kids, every scene, it felt like they just threw a camera on some kids and just cut around whatever footage they had. And the mom, I know, was not an actress. They found like a model on Instagram who
I think it was
looked
her
the
first
part.
role. They said.
Yeah. They genuinely like pulled her off Instagram and were like, "You're gonna do this." And nobody, even Willem Dafoe, doesn't feel like he's like putting on a performance. He feels so. Although I will say, he's an awful landlord. He is doing way too much work. He is doing way too much to fix things and solve problems.
I didn't see him paint over a single broken item.
He did paint the outside, and then he dropped the paint.
The outside needed to be painted. He didn't,
Yeah. But yeah, everyone is just so good in this, and there are so many good things to talk about. I'm going to stop my little rant here, and I'll let you guys go for a few minutes. But
so you guys want to talk about the end? I'll talk about the end because I'll start at the end at least. Because so I just watched it. I waited till today to watch it. Partially because I lost track of time, and it was also because this is my day off. So like this is also the best day to watch it. Was loving it, absolutely loving it. I'll get into all how I felt about the whole movie going through, and then it ended. And my initial thought when it ended. Now I want to point out that I get right into it. I get very into like what's happening in the movie. So I was very emotional of how it ended. I was very unhappy with how it ended. It just felt very.
It's a controversial ending.
So let me walk you through my process. So first, watching it, it was like leading up to it, the whole scene with police and the protective services coming over. The way, for me at least, the way they were editing it, cutting between Mooney and Haley and Bobby, it kept feeling like we're building to something. Something's about to be like, there's going to be, in my mind, I'm thinking like there's going to be an accident, something sudden is going to happen that's going to kind of, fuck me up at least. And so when she runs and she goes to
Jancy's.
the Jancy's, the whole scene, the scene almost felt in a way like it was filmed at a different time. In a way, it was like she shows up and the look on Jancy's face, I swear to God, was like, did Jancy call the fucking cops on her? Jancy seems like she's in on it. Like Jancy felt like, I was like, what did she just pull up to the ops? What is this? And then like, you know, the crying was amazing. And then they run off in like this very sped up thing and they're in Disney World, and Disney World was a kind of a very backdrop thing, but it wasn't like some destination they are always. There was a part of me I was just kind of was like, it was like it's the very last, really the last minute, and I was like, what the fuck? What was that?
So one thing I'll say there.
Oh, one second. Let me. I'm almost. And then I sat down. I started, put out a couple of videos, kind of just going over it, let myself sit with it for a little bit to get over like, okay, this might have been more of a fantasy, a dream sequence in a way. And when I had that thought, I had a hard time not holding back tears while trying to eat soup. So I had to hold my, it was like an hour afterward. I was sitting there eating. I was like, oh, that's what's going on, so, but yeah.
I do think that's sort of the overall consensus is that is not what happened. They did not get to run off to Disney World and have a good, happy day. But that was just like what they desperately wanted. And also just a fun thing about that, you might have seen in the videos. He had to illegally film that because he did not get permission from Disney to film. So the reason it looks so weird,
I was like,
it's just on an iPhone. No, they were holding, like he was on an iPhone, that whole ending scene, which adds to the sort of frantic look of it. And he had just like someone was like holding it as if they weren't filming, running through Disney World, following them. And I think it adds to the sort of like almost dreamlike feel of it as they go through.
No, like I said, when when you look at it at the point of view of like it's her, it's kind of her dreaming, her like maladaptive daydreaming, if anything, or it's kind of her like how she would want it to end, kind of
Yeah.
It's a much better ending. But like I said, in the moment, I was like thinking we were going to get to this big emotional thing, and it wasn't emotional, but I was like, I legit was like, where are we going? I was so confused. I was like, what's happening? But in terms of the rest of the movie, though, I mean, it was, no, it was wonderful. It was a wonderful movie. I thought the child acting was fantastic in so many ways. One of the things I thought they displayed so well was the boredom, was just the not knowing what to do with yourself, just being slumped over and laid down, kind of, when they're sitting there just kind of clicking their feet together, making noise.
There's one scene where Mooney and Jancy are just looking out over, I forget it's just a field or a lake, and Jancy just straight up goes, why do we always just look at stuff? And it's like, but also that's what you do when you're a kid. That's all you got. So
no, it was, and then the intro for this kid was amazing, and not because here's the other thing, and this also fed into the ending for me. I had no idea what to expect from this movie. Zero. We read the description. The description gives nothing away in terms of like what happens, what the issue is. So the whole time, I mean, for all I know, someone could have died in the movie. You know what I mean? Like, I have no idea what's about to happen. That's how I kind of felt the whole time. So, like, I didn't know anything. I had no idea what to really expect going in. And then I watched, they open up, and when the kids, first off, they just started spitting on this car. And I was like, I was a bit like, not what I was expecting, but at the same time, okay. And then when they just start laying into this woman, just screaming at her, I mean, there was several moments where I laughed out loud in this movie alone. But it was like, I was just so not expecting that to be the tone of the children, the behavior or whatever and all that. So that in a good way, I thought that was exciting. I wasn't expecting all this aggression. What's his name? What's the one kid? Dickie. I don't know if he specifically said this line, but like it's at least in the beginning of the movie, felt like the kids kind of said it as a group when they're like when she's yelling at them to try to get back here, and she's like, and they're like, we don't care, we don't live here. Well, Dickie does live there apparently. Dickie lives like the house behind them, the barn behind them. So that was not a good move. But then again, you see, it's almost like you see the difference in parenting. Like Dickie, like here's what happens when you parent immediately. Yeah. And Dickie's not coming with you. Again, we're done with that. It wasn't like that, but like he's gone for a week, and that's going to end up also kind of phasing him out of your little group.
Yeah.
Versus, the grandmother of Jancy was so self-righteous, as she should have been. She was all in the right with the way the kids were behaving and everything. But it was like for then her turn around and let Jancy play with them. I thought I'd not say I was like surprised. Like I understand that these are the characters and everyone. It's it's also about a community to a degree in the movie. But it's just from watching because I'm watching as like someone judging parenting, and I'm just like, not that I'm a parent, but like just I'm not that I'm a parent, but I'm judgmental. So I was watching, and I was kind of just like, it's odd move. Like, when they're like, I guess she didn't know how crazy they were going to get, when she makes the kids come back to clean the car, I was wondering, is the car cleaner? Is the car like the way, I don't know if you watched them clean the car, but you could argue the spitting might have been a better job.
I mean, I completely agree, but it definitely was more of just, it's the principle of it. They don't actually
I totally understand the principle, but I was watching, I was like, this is not practical at all. But I'm just reading the notes. These kids move like absolute menaces. The way they run around town is so violently. You know what I mean? Not even when they're doing anything wrong, just the way their whole bodies are, you know what I mean? And it's whenever they go meet Bobby, I fear for what's about to happen. Like one of my favorite bits in the whole movie. Honestly, maybe one of my favorite bits. I thought it was great. Was when they're introducing Jancy and everything, and they're taking her door to door, and like basically putting their hand on the door, talking about like the personal problems of who's inside here.
He gets arrested a lot.
He gets arrested. He's not allowed over whatever. Like all these, like just. I thought that was awesome. Like I said, they wrote the children so well. The two things they did so well in this movie was besides acting and so many different things, but like I thought they really stood out of like above and beyond that. Like even when a movie does great with like the normal things a movie does, I feel like they don't do it with this, which is writing the children and poverty. Showing people being poor. And I thought they did such a great job. I mean, they just, like you said many times, I asked myself many times, I want to know how much of this is the script. I'd love to know how much of these scenes were scripted, how much of it was just like, watch them, play with them, lead them this way. They're just get them feeling comfortable on camera and that whatnot, and we'll just go with what we get, but watching bad parenting is incredibly stressful. I said this movie must have helped a lot done wonders for birth control. The father giving it, because half the time I was like, oh my, these kids are hilarious. They're adorable. There's so much great stuff. And also like, oh my God, good Lord. I mean, granted, it was more of the parenting, clearly the parenting's fault than anything, but either way, it was, Dickie's father giving away Dickie's toys felt like the ultimate like father move. Like I'm sure my father would have loved to give away, would have absolutely, every time he moved, would have absolutely loved to just like take a box out and like, just take this, anyone take this, like run away. My mother always wanted to keep the Legos for when she had grandkids, and my father is very much wants to get rid of everything, particularly the Legos. Haley is offended by any attempt at parenting. Any attempt that anyone makes to like, hey, I was thinking maybe don't let them cut off power to half the neighborhood. Oh, my bad, Mom. Like, goodness. I realized afterwards, eventually realized that it was to show that she was how they showed the prostitution, but I feel like they could have shown it a different way. I didn't need to see 5 cutaways to Mooney in the bathtub.
See, I think the way they did that was so effective
I
because
think
every time it was like, oh, whatever, and then when it finally happens, where the guy walks in, my heart just like
no, totally for storytelling purposes.
Like crushing.
I don't disagree with that. It was in hindsight, it was a great job. In the moment, I was like, again, we're back here. I was like, okay, and it was like, and there are always such quick scenes that I was like, what are we doing here? Like, I've got just a few more notes, and then I'll you, Chad. Definitely understood how Epstein was able to do all his shit in Florida after watching these kids roam around. When Mooney was asking why her mom was yelling or why she was upset, I thought that was a weird question. It seemed like that. Not that she was like a cranky person, but I was like, she's a pistol. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know. What do you like? It'd be like if Haley was like, why is Mooney swearing? Like, this is what she does. This is just her. This is what I kept asking myself. And I had to look up and found out that it was her first role. That's what even made me more confused. Why do I feel like I've met this woman? Why do I feel like I've met Haley? I felt like I knew this woman. I feel like she was just a conglomeration of like 7 different people that I met. And there was so many times I was like, I've heard someone say that just like that. I feel like but no, those are really the most of my notes. I'll skip to you because I'll skip to you, Chad. Now, like I said, to some degree, I'm going to repeat myself, but yeah, I thought it was a very, like you said, Willem Dafoe's best role. I would agree. It's one of those roles where it's like when you forget who they are is one of the best ones. You know what I mean? We just forget that like he was so into it, who he was. You know what I mean? Like that guy, Bobby, that it was also the line Bobby's boobies or Bobby's boobies was great. You know, no, but anyway, your turn. Back to you, Chad.
I'll start with saying this. This is a bit awkward for me because my sister's name is Haley. So every time you say like Haley and throughout the movie and in this conversation, I just think of my sister, and it's pretty weird. But
she also has a daughter named Mooney, which is even stranger.
So when I finished this movie, I'm going to be 100% honest. I didn't know what to think. I was like, I didn't know what my opinion of the movie was, which leads me to the parts I liked about it, which is that it stuck with me. I watched it yesterday and I've thought about it all day today. And the main question I keep asking myself, again, this is kind of weird, but is Haley a good or bad mom? Because I can easily see an argument for both. And that is very, it just sticks in my brain. I just keep repeating that.
Just because I feel like I would argue that she's a bad mother, but a great sister.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, or would be a good sister.
I think she's a bad mom who's trying her best. It's like, I think she, unlike a lot of, like I said, a lot of movies would have been much cheaper and been like, oh, the parents are fucking awful and that's why the kids are bad. This is like to really ham up how hard their lives are. But I think like you constantly see her trying to, and like doing whatever it takes to keep her kids safe.
You know what? I knew
not
they
even
were
safe,
the kid?
just in a home, I guess.
You know what scene I knew they were taking the kid? I even wrote it down. When she took her to go dance in the rain, I was like, oh, they're taking this fucking kid. I was like, no one dances with their kid in the rain unless if they're going to see their kid next week.
That's a have fun at dad's ass move to do.
The other question I had, and we kind of touched on this a bit, is when did you guys figure out what the bathtub meant?
When the guy walked in.
Yeah.
When the guy walked in.
I figured it out the time before, because I just happened to hear a slight moan in the background, and I was like, "Wait, what was that?" And I was like, "Oh," and yeah.
See, for me, it was the reason. What I was thinking was it reminded the way they were cutting to it reminded me of the same way they were cutting to them selling perfume in the parking lots.
Yeah.
Which made me think it's just either an aspect of her just showing her life every day, or it's just this, or the other part of me was like, maybe this is just the way they're based on how they filmed, this is how they edit. So I really wasn't, and I really was like, what are we, because they weren't doing, for me at least, they weren't, the scene, nothing was happening in the scene, at least from like, obviously in hindsight, I know that's not true, but like, I was like, why are you cutting to this girl in the fucking bathtub? What are we doing? And then literally I put down, it was like the first time happened, okay, then the second time, okay, and then third time I was like, okay, I'm gonna make a note of this. And then I put down, it happened a fourth time, I was like, 4 times. And then when we came back a fifth time, I was like, 5 times already. Jesus.
She's clean.
No. Yeah. Then it happened, what explained, I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, no, that's okay. It's a great storytelling in hindsight. It's one of those like kind of like reminds me of, in a way, like I think the way they treat Anton Chigurh's boots in I saw a video on it. And there will be in No Country for Old Men, like something to be like he wants to keep his boots clean. So like whether how you can see how his boots are, whatever, you could tell like whether he like killed Darlene at the end or something like that. But it reminded me of that kind of type of storytelling, But yeah, I didn't. It wasn't literally until like they were like he walked in. I was like, oh shit.
The other thing I had is the guy who walks into Mooney in the bathtub. So he comes back later as the guy who's knocking on the door, right?
Yeah.
I don't think it's like a guarantee, but I think it's pretty safe to say. She makes the only line you'll really have connection it for sure is when Mooney says it, or they. Yeah. But at the same time, I don't know if she sees him outside.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I would assume though.
But
he's the only job we see.
So when he's knocking on the door, I originally thought he was the guy that she sells the bracelets to, because they look extremely similar.
That did cross my mind. Yeah. It did cross my mind for a moment, especially when that is the problem, the bracelets. Yep. But William Dafoe, how he handled it, I thought that was awesome. I thought that was just like, more bracelets for wife and kids, probably. We can make it. They want to know what your business was here, of course. Here's another note that I had though. How many problems?
Unless he's just sitting like that. Maybe he's real happy. Okay,
how many problems could have, probably not too many, but I feel like to some degree things could have been avoided if Ashley had just been like, hey, they committed arson. That's why they're not hanging out.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's because it's like, of all the things to keep secret, it's like, that was an issue I had. Of like, not only was it unnecessary, but it was just like, granted, it wasn't Mooney that did it,
But it
was her idea.
But it's the same idea that they obviously can't be together. They're not good as a unit, the kids. But it was, I was definitely like, especially when she came in and beat the shit out of her, I was like, we probably should say something. I think it's real. Like when she came in and ordered all that, I was like, this isn't like a.
Yeah. How did she pay for that?
That, but also I think that might be. I think that was the beginning of the John stuff. I think that might be a more in hindsight that type of thing. There is a lot of in hindsight where that they really want you to pick up on, which I like that. And like I said, sometimes I get so into like what's just happening that like I'm not like thinking it through. I'm more just like reacting emotionally to what's happening on screen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just like, I feel like we could have, I feel like that was something that like you probably should you should say that. But I thought it was, Granny, I think it really shows the levels of parenting. Like, you have Dickie's father who immediately, you know what, spit on cars, you're done. A week for spitting on cars. Arguably,
you spit on one car, grounded for a week. That's not fair.
What's the one kid's name? What was the other kid's name? Scooty arguably didn't actually get grounded for burning down a neighborhood.
I don't think that's arguably. He just straight up didn't get.
He got punished for not being able to see a particular friend, but like he didn't, But my thing was like you have the top, at least in the movie, you have the top parenting with the Dickie's father, and you have the next level of how no one how Haley couldn't tell with Mooney, but only Ashley was able to tell with Scooty of like this child doesn't want to go see the burning buildings. This child doesn't want to go see the fire outside. Everyone wants to see the fire outside. You know what I mean? Like it's
Mooney knew how to sell it. She went home and went,
she knew how to sell it.
Let's go see.
I don't know though, because not really though, because when you see her, when they take the picture of her, you can see like she is not having a good time in front of that fire. I think, I don't know. And I love it when they're like nervous and she just says, no, it's fine. Jancy, just don't say anything. Bye. It's like, I love it. I love it. And then just like
it felt like the town when the plan goes wrong and they're like, all right, everybody just go home, lay low.
Yeah, I remember the did the criminals have time to come up with an alibi together? A story which is really the story is just nothing happened. Don't say anything. No, it was fun. It was fun.
Chad, did you have anything else?
We haven't talked about it yet, but the creepy guy who comes around and Bobby just immediately was like, he drops the paint and then he's like, I gotta take care of this real quick. And yeah, there was more wrong with that guy than just he liked kids, right? Like, yeah, that's what I'm supposed to get from that. Okay.
I mean, yes and no. I think it's a mix. I think definitely, obviously, he's got several issues. One of which is having him do this. But I think it was also just a way to be like, when we have this character on screen, we want to paint this character in the worst light we can come up with.
Okay. I was thinking, how bad do you think it would feel to like? So there's a role that you're
just want
going in for an audition. No, you're going in for an audition, right? And you're like, okay. The role is for creepy pedophile man at like hotel, and you walk in and they look at you and go, perfect. I would be like, well, not perfect. Clearly not perfect. Like,
I need some makeup.
Yeah. I think I could probably change my physical appearance to some degree.
No, we'd love it. You're exactly how you are right now. Well, not exactly how surely you mean like we should change some stuff.
No, because see, it's not as bad as it's a little, that's bad, but it's not as bad as the people who, someone comes up to me in public or someone comes and say, you didn't work for this role, but we do have one that we, like, imagine what would really hurt is if that guy also auditioned for Bobby first. And like, we're not seeing Bobby, but what we are seeing is there's this goofy pedophile, like there's this wacky, or maybe it wasn't painting him in a bad light. Maybe it was maybe it was all Hollywood Epstein cover up. These wacky pedophiles coming by, but it was I put down. I don't think we're talking about soda here. No, it was. What was the other note I was going to have on? I had something else on that scene.
I think that scene, while you're looking what you're saying, I think highlights probably my favorite thing about Bobby is you can like every scene he clearly cares so much for like all the people here in his hotel, but especially the kids because he sees the situation there, and you see when he's with his son, like he doesn't have a great relationship with his son and ex-wife. And the way he
Felt like
sort
it
of
was-
looked after these kids, I just was like a nice. I didn't need that scene with his son, although I love me some Caleb Landry Jones.
I didn't. I'll
want
be
him
honest
in
with
more
you.
movies.
I'll be honest with you. I felt the same way. I didn't need it either. I was about to put that. I was like, I didn't need that little bit. I didn't need like an extra layer of like, oh, and here's like a little extra cherry on top. There's a little bit more sadness. No one's got a good family life.
Yeah. But yeah, the way he cares for those kids and constantly puts up with them. The hide and seek scene where they're
Was
under
great.
the desk hiding, and he just sort of.
When what I also thought it was funny was he knew when he saw that old man by the kids that something was wrong because he knows these kids and no one would want to spend any time with these children. Like, he's like, someone there's an adult near them, nothing good can be happening. Either they're in trouble or they are in trouble.
Chad, was that the end of yours? Because I have some notes here that
I got
if you have
one more.
go with it. Yeah.
I got one more. That's the and Brennan kind of touched on this as the ending. I 100% was waiting for the shoe to drop. I was like, she's about to get run over crossing the street or something.
Or the mom's gonna do something crazy.
Yeah, like
I was waiting for anything.
When it first started, I was like, oh, here when she's like on the like balcony, I was like, oh, she's gonna like fall off or something right now, and then she escapes and nobody really chases her, which I found kind of weird.
Well, when she runs down the stairs, that one agent took a tumble down the stairs. I missed that the first time, but she goes to grab her, misses, and just like down the. Yeah, it's gnarly.
She was done after that.
I don't blame her. If that was me, I'd be like, yeah, someone else chase her. Not my fucking problem.
Yeah, it's but fine. your dream sequence theory makes more sense because, you know, let's say the dream sequence happens after she gets to Jancy's house or room, like that would make sense that nobody came and picked her up after that. That's what she wanted, was to go to Disney World. But yeah,
it's kind of like her just like, I guess, what would happen, what would be best case scenario if things kept going her way,
right?
You know, at least that's how I guess I took it at the end. Like I said, in the moment, I was literally just like, what? I put down in the moment, brilliant till the final minute. Like I legit was like, what? Because it was all sped up, and I was like, what is happening? I was so, because I was like that, I was waiting for that shoe to drop, and not only did the shoe not drop, but it like sped off in some weird, like, you know, like, I was like, that's one way to do it. That's one way to, you know. I think that's all the notes I have.
So I have a couple other things I want to point out. Not like the most. There are some great quotes in this. Not like anything you'd quote, but a few lines I wrote down that I fucking love. The first time they're at the ice cream parlor trying to get change, and they stop the woman and they say, the doctor said we have asthma and we need ice cream right away. It's so funny. And again, like to add to how real they feel, that is such a fucking kid thing to say. Like, I remember telling my grandparents before, oh, yeah, like my stomach hurts, but I've heard someone said that ice cream helps a stomach, like things like that you try. Like, it felt so real. It made me laugh so hard when Jancy and Mooney are out under the tree and it's raining. Jancy goes, why did you take me on this adventure? And Mooney goes, I didn't know it was going to rain. And Jancy goes, didn't you watch the news?
Yeah, I watched the news. It's not that boring.
And then there's a scene right at the end when Mooney's talking to the social worker and she's like not answering. At one point, the social worker goes, do you swim in the pool? And Mooney goes, she like nods and then goes, and like literally pulls up an arm as if like she answered the question and it took a second for her to be like, what a dumb fucking question. Of course I use the pool. Like it was And then one of my favorites, where Willem Dafoe walks out of the office and you don't see who he's talking to, and he goes, "Hey fellas, we gotta move it here." And the camera pans over and there's 4 birds in the street. And he goes, "Their car's coming." And he goes, "No harm, no foul. There's a joke in there somewhere," and walks away. Like he just doesn't have it in him to, like, he realizes he's talking to birds, but he's still like, I gotta treat them nice. But then, like, yeah, the main thing and the thing that cemented this as like an all-timer for me, the ending. When I say the ending, I don't even necessarily mean the running to Disney World. That's fine. That scene in the doorway at Jancy's place, destroys me. Just the thought of this kid who, again, until like a couple days ago, thought everything was fine, thought everything was normal. And oh wait, one more thing. I just saw this one note. When they're eating at the hotel, first off, if I lived closer to more hotels, I'd be doing that shit all the time. That's a good book. But also, at one point, Moody goes, "They should make forks out of candy, so that way you can eat them after you eat your meal." And I'm like, brilliant. Crazy no one's done that. Edible forks.
I actually thought the exact opposite. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that exists, and you wouldn't want it because you wouldn't make it past one bite because you bite the fork pretty quickly.
Disagree. You just got to get innovative. But yeah, the goodbye scene, again, she didn't realize how bad things were until a couple days ago. Suddenly, out of nowhere, it went from, "We just want to ask you some questions," to, "You're going to be leaving to live with another family for a while." Watching that like realization hit her on the balcony by her like her hotel room, and then running over there and physically being unable to say goodbye when she's sobbing and says, "I can't say it," that's where I lose it every time. And then it's as if she has to like pull the words out of her mouth, the way she reaches fingers in to say goodbye. Fucking, oh my God. It just, that actress better be everywhere whenever if she's actively trying to work and not getting roles. Fuck everyone who casts anything. And if she's taking a break, good on you, but please come back, because that was especially for a child to put on a performance.
And then also strong. It was I feel like it was really big for the character because she's had the entire movie. I mean, not a very tough exterior, screaming at adults, anytime she was questioned or, given any type of pushback potentially, so that was the first time you really see, like, it almost reminded me sometimes of like growing up. Because I had 5, there's 5 siblings of us. And I was the second oldest. So Bronson, there's a 7-year age gap between us. So like he was, when he was very young, was very much like, I mean, he was, I remember when he was 6 years old, calling me a bitch, but then like you turn around and you treat him like he was a little older. And then and then obviously you realize, oh no, he's a child. Oops, daisy. And then I'd be getting yelled at, like, what do you mean? Like, he's 6? I'm like, do you? He's a pretty rude 6-year-old, So it reminded me a little bit of that. And now that I'm just on the subject, when I mentioned the Garfield thing, on the trip to when we were in elementary, we drove to Arkansas to see family, 14-hour trip or 15-hour trip. He made us watch Garfield on loop the entire time, in between crying to watch more Garfield.
But yeah, I guess sort of as we wrap up this, yeah, like I said in the question, this movie made me cry the most. I think there's nothing worse than when people watch a movie and it has like an emotional scene and it's supposed to hit that. Like this whole movie was building to this moment that was supposed to absolutely rock you. And there were so long where I would watch a movie and be like, I'm not fucking crying. No, it's a movie. I'm not going to cry. And I'm like, at a certain point I was like, yeah, no, but it's a movie. Like, if it's going to make you cry, just fucking cry. Like, enjoy it. Like, let yourself feel the feelings the movie wants you to feel. Let yourself be scared during a horror movie. And, like, I can't imagine someone watching a comedy and being like, I'm not fucking laughing.
Especially when you think, like, it's what the movie's goal was, what its job is, and what you paid for. And like it's like going to a haunted house and being like,
Yeah.
they're gonna get me. I'm not
Yeah.
even.
Just like participate in the culture you're consuming. Like do it. Like go for it.
I
And
was a very
this was
similar way
one
to
of those
do.
big movies that really got me to be like, no, like it's good to like fully buy in and fully let yourself feel everything the movie wants you to feel, even if it's like uncomfortable, like the sadness and the again that scene where she's in the bath and the guy walks in, that heartbreak, like feeling that in its like fullness was
I
just
also, like I
such
said, didn't know what was going to happen, so I'm like, oh, this is about to get real dark.
yeah.
I was like, this can't be good. And then she comes in, whatever. But yeah, I was a very similar way. I feel like I don't know. It was sometime in my 20s. I forget exactly when, but it was like sometime in my 20s, like maybe 24 or whatever. It was like I my whole family, we watched Up. I'm the only one. I didn't cry. Didn't cry watching Up. And it was, couldn't cry during a movie. Now, a character has to express any emotion vaguely, and I'm balling.
Listen, you put on the right commercial, I'm going to be a mess. It takes very little.
Kind of pride in someone, and I'm like,
yeah. Especially when you get one where it's like a happy cry, kind of like that overwhelming like emotion of like just a payoff, even positive or negative. It's like, yeah, just go for it. And yeah, this movie was like in a time where I think I and everyone, the pandemic was feeling a lot of negative emotions they didn't fully know how to process. Being able to watch a movie like this where it was just like, oh, let's just let out every bit of that emotion was just really good. So that is why I suggested it. And what will not be a surprise to anyone at all, it is getting 5 stars from me. Yeah, it's one of my favorites for a reason.
I'll give it a 4.5. I enjoyed it. I really did. Like I said, I probably would have given it a 4 in the very beginning when I first, like once it ended. But after kind of reflecting on more on the ending, and honestly just talking about it, I feel like I haven't had this much fun talking about a film in a minute. Like I feel like I don't know how much rewatchability. But at the same time, it's one of those. It almost reminds me of not for the same reason, but it reminds me a little bit of like an Uncut Gems of like, oh, it's a great movie. Watching it again, no, it does what it's supposed to do, and I don't need to feel those emotions.
I've seen it a few times. It's definitely not like the most rewatchable. It's not something I would ever throw on when I'm just like, I'm looking for something
in the background.
Anytime I watch this, it's like my intention is to sit down and watch this movie. Like that's the only way I think you can rewatch it. And it is on a second watch to see all the like.
Yeah, I'm
like,
sure.
to notice the little things that lead up and build. And
I will say, with how we've talked about this, how the storytelling was, I do think it definitely does deserve at least one more. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch it more, but like one more watch for sure to catch all those things. Also, just for that purpose. But yeah, I would say 4.5 for me.
For me, I'm gonna go with Brennan and say 4.5. When I've like credits start rolling, if you would have asked me what my score was, I would have said like building. I had no idea. I couldn't there was no concept of a 5-star scale, but like just reflecting and thinking about it's definitely a film worth watching. One other thing that because I know or that I noticed that led to me picking up on the prostitution stuff was the scene where they take pictures in the bikinis in the room.
Oh shit! Yeah. You know what's crazy? I've seen this movie multiple times. Never realized that was the pictures that she showed in the ad. Never clicked until just now. That's crazy.
Okay, I'm sorry, keep going.
I saw that scene was developing, and I'm like, she's using these pictures for something. I can't quite put my finger on what it is yet, but it all kind of was, building to something.
I was very much missing the forest for the trees.
Yeah,
I was very much like just like in the movie, and then I'm like, Because it was like I was also
mother-daughter
like,
bonding.
I also wasn't even sure, like necessarily, like I said, I was so in a good way because I think it's fun to go into movies like this because you really don't know what to expect. Is like I really didn't know what to expect, so I was like, I don't know what when like they're doing stuff like it's like when we were talking about these things, I'm like I remember it, but in my mind I'm just like I don't know what story they're telling, so I don't know what I should be paying attention. I guess like what I should be like. Oh, that means like I was like yeah I know she's a prostitute. Oh, guess that's just the thing she does now. Oh, this is like it was. I guess in one way it's also because it's like, I mean, the kids burnt down an entire apartment, and not only did no one get in trouble, they actually cheered. They kind of actually cheered it, and it's
When
like
they're
so.
first talking to Willem Dafoe to Bobby about it, and the one person's like, "It's a fucking dump. I thought about burning it down myself." It was like, "Oh, great! So nobody's
they
gonna
all go
care
out
at
and
all."
celebrate and watch it and cheer. They're telling the fire department let it burn, whatnot. So then to be like, oh, but the prostitution in the same room is an issue. It's like, yeah, I know it's an issue, but like,
Well, but nobody else knew that that was the fire. Like we as the audience know, but like nobody else would have been like, "You let your kid burn that place down."
well, no, but I mean, like, it still happened. It was still something that, I don't know. I get what you mean. I'm just like, it was more, I guess, just like in that aspect too of just being like, not knowing necessarily where we were headed and the weight of everything. I guess in that regard, in terms of to the story, not in terms of like it's not okay not to do, it's not okay to do these things, but like in terms of like how much impact it was going to have on like consequences for characters.
And I will say, off the prostitution part again, I think there are a couple moments where the writing is just fully on the wall of like how it's all going to end. The first is when Scooty's mom confronts her. Well, not confronts her. She gets confronted. But when she shows the picture, which I love her, that's not me. And she's like, bitch, these are your tattoos. Like, who are you trying to... But then when she goes
like
back
a full
to the
body
room
picture too.
Yeah. But when she goes back to the room and immediately throws up, it's like, okay, you can see she's like, I'm officially fucked.
Well, see, here's the
And
thing.
then
Actually,
when Bobby makes the rule of like all visitors have to sign in through me, there's genuine panic in her voice that you've never seen from her thus far. Even with all the other little trouble she's been in, that was her like, what am I gonna do now?
And here's my thoughts on those. At least what I was in the meat was number one was like, well, that just ruins. Obviously, people aren't going to come and be a prostitute if they got to go give the guy, the hotel manager. Like, it's not going to work well for prostitution. That's how she's paying for
One
things.
prostitute, please.
I wasn't thinking like, oh, she's going to get in trouble because the kid's in the same room or same hotel room or not, like in the bathroom, whatever. Not to say it was okay, but like I didn't think like that was like of all the issues that were going on in the film, I didn't think that was going to be the one that they're like, this is really what can I, like, and then the other one, what would you say was the other thing you just said about and when I thought when the puking, I didn't think it was because she was in trouble about being found out about the prostitution or whatever. I figured I was like, everyone knows she's a prostitute. She's like, it's not like doesn't look like she might be, like, it doesn't look like, but it was because I thought like, honestly, when she puked the first time, I thought, oh, she's just sick from the fight. And then when she kept puking, I legit for a second was like, did she kill her? Did she beat her to death? Or are we about to like I said, movie could have taken a turn at any moment and I would have been like, I guess, ready for a turn, and not taking those turns. It was a great movie. I don't have a critique of it. It was just, like I said, how I felt in the moment and why I wasn't putting the pieces together of like, not that this wasn't an issue, but like this was going to be the issue for them in the film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's all I have to say about this for now. There's a very real chance you guys just get messages in our group chat being like, I forgot this. But that's just for us because I didn't think of it now. So that's on me.
But for $5 a month, we'll add you to the group chat. You can say whatever you want. We have to respond. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. Should we? I'll make the announcement for the lineup for the next potential movies. I was going to do three of the three thoughts. I came up with the fourth just because I just popped in my head. I was having a hard time coming.
No, I don't. I think 3's just like a minimum, but if you want to do more, go for it. Like Chad said, I think the first time he had 4.
I had
So-
5.
So,
Oh shit!
first one is a classic I need to finally watch. A movie I want to revisit because I feel I think I've misjudged it, kind of based on how we were just talking, how being emotional from from what happened to then not having to kind of watch it again and reflect on it. A war movie you probably haven't seen. Nothing like crazy about it, but I don't know if you've seen this one. And it's a war movie I've seen a lot throughout my
It's called
life.
Saving Private Ryan.
So you bet Private Ryan. Don't spoil it for the viewers at home, whether you got saved or not. Okay. And then a movie I feel I've been avoiding.
I think.
Spoiler, I'm going to tell you what they all are because I can't keep secrets. At the end of it.
Well, let us pick first.
Yeah,
I
no,
think,
yeah.
Chad, I don't know about you. I think my vote is the movie he's misjudged, or he thinks he might have misjudged.
These are all like very good prompts. Let's see. Yeah, I'm good with that one.
That one, honestly, I knew Josh was going to pick that one. I knew he was going to pick that one.
Well,
But
I just
it's
think
not
like
even-
that prompt alone is like a 45-minute discussion. So I'm like, yeah, let's like get into that one.
You're going to be happy about this one though, too. Then
Is it Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
Parasite.
Oh no!
I'm going
I've been avoiding this.
You've been avoiding Parasite.
Let me ask Chad. Do you think it's horror?
Yeah.
It's not even a little bit horror.
Now
It's not.
He's not spoiling it for you because that's gonna. Because let me tell you why I want to rewatch it. I'll just give it a little quick. We'll go deeper next episode, but watching the whole movie was very similar to this movie. I wasn't sure where we were gonna go, but for Parasite, I kept not to say these are better ideas, but in my mind, I'm just like, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be that? Could it be this? What does this mean? Could this mean that? And it was. I just found that I built up these big crazy things, and then what it turned out to be wasn't that it was bad, but it was so much lower on the severity scale that I was like, oh, that's a thing too.
Yeah,
You know?
I think I oftentimes like I have a couple friends from college that I'm in like a monthly movie club with, and there are some movies that like they'll suggest, and I'll watch, and I'll be like the same thing, and I'm like no, but I'm like okay. Before I chime in, I'm going to watch it again, free of the expectations of what I think and or want to happen. And I do think it's, especially if it's something you're towards the middle on, like you could go either way. I always think it's good to just give it another go and see.
Well, I also remember when you and I saw it, and I came out and I was like, "Miss," you're like, "What?" You're like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, "Didn't do it for me."
I'm like, it's one of the I just saw a list. I forgot who made it, but it was like the best films of the 21st century so far.
Yeah,
And
time isn't.
Parasite is number one, and I'm like, yeah, I can't disagree with
it. So I was like, you know what? Let's give this another viewing after film. I don't know if it's after film school. It feels like it's after film school. If not years later or whatever, well removed from film school, well into, let's give another viewing. I'll tell you what the other films in the category were, just because I want to do that. The classic that I feel I need to finally watch is A Princess Bride.
Okay.
Every time I tell people I haven't seen that one, they're like, "What?" I'm like,
I haven't finished
seen it.
So,
I've seen it in school. They put it on the TV. So I wasn't really paying attention. I remember a few scenes, but I don't know if it's from that or like YouTube Shorts when I get stuck in a rabbit hole of spending an hour and a half on that.
And I'm sure it's gonna be one of those films when I put it on, and I realized that like everyone's been copying tropes from it or whatever since then. Like we're like, oh, that's where that's from. The war movie that I feel like you probably haven't seen is K-19.
The Widowmaker?
Yep, The Widowmaker with Liam Neeson and Harrison Ford. It's a great movie about the first nuclear Russian submarine and all the wacky misadventures that go on. And then a movie I feel like I've been avoiding is Manchester by the Sea.
Oh, we'll get to that one eventually. We will get to that one eventually.
I'm going to watch that one soon, I know. But when it came out, I asked my ex at the time. She had watched it, and I was like, "Should I watch it? Is it good?" She's like, "You don't need to watch it." All right, good to know. I was like,
That one has one of my favorite scenes, one of my favorite heartbreaking scenes. That first off, I need to put this opinion out there because I felt this for a long time. Casey Affleck is the better brother in terms of acting. I would take him in a movie over Ben just about any day of the week. I think he's so good.
Yeah, I don't.
Putting aside the personal issues, I just like going back over their catalogs. I think he is incredible.
Tower Heist.
Never seen Tower Heist.
No, it's the one with Ben Stiller where it's what
Is that Eddie Murphy too?
I think so. Yeah, it's the one where they steal from. Fuck now, name on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's like a night at museum type comedy.
Yeah.
Okay. So you heard it, Chad. We're watching Tower Heist for next week. So.
So, actually, we're watching Night at the Museum 2. We're going to skip the first one. We're going to we're getting
Battle at the Smithsonian.
We're not starting on page 1. We're hitting the ground running in this semester.
Chad, I really think you're going to love this movie. I
don't want to spoil it by telling you how I was spoiled during it. I'll say that for next week. But yeah, I think it's also just, it's one of those, it's beautifully shot. It looks great, every time that's the thing. Every time I'm like, I don't like the movie. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, yeah, no, it looks amazing and everything about it is perfect. But the things that bugged me. But yeah,
all right.
I think that's it. Is that all for this episode, we think?
That's all for this episode.
All right. This was CineMinistry.